Good morning, everyone, and Merry Christmas. I hope this finds you well and living your best life in Jesus Christ. It may surprise you to know that even though I have spent my entire life as a musician, well, at least my adult life, I rarely stop and take the time to just listen to music. I suppose a lot of it has to do with just being a very goal-oriented person. I try to make every moment count and seldom take time between projects to stop and relax, preferring to move smoothly from one task to another, often to the point where I barely pause for more than a few moments. But a part of it has to do with the fact that I find it difficult to listen to any music without, frankly, analyzing it to death. As I listen, I will basically tear it apart, seeing how it's constructed, figuring out what key it's in, what chords it uses. I'll look at the melody and form to the point where I turn what should be an enjoyable emotional experience into, quite frankly, work. I had a psychology professor tell me 40 years ago that of all the self-destructive tendencies that I have, my most powerful is the need to turn something I love into a job and thereby end up spoiling it. Only in the last few years have I begun to overcome the need to think so much about music's composition and go back to the pure joy of simply listening to it and feeling it. This is another of the many blessings the Lord has blessed me with since I stopped feeling the need to direct my own path in life and trust Him to, as He says in Scriptures, direct my path. I woke more than a bit early the other morning and did something I very seldom do. I listened to music. I listened to a piece I have not heard in probably 10 years, but one particularly appropriate for this time of year. I listened to the first part of Handel's oratorio Messiah, which is based upon the prophecies concerning the coming of Christ. I listened with my whole being, setting aside the analysis and just listening. As I listened to the glorious words from Isaiah 9:6 set to such beautiful music in the key of G, as I heard it culminate in a thunderous choral response, I was frankly moved to tears. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, they sang. And they followed that with the great majesty of His name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace. As the tears streamed down my face, praises rising in my mind and heart, I found that I had opened another drawer in my Advent calendar. And inside I found a gift that I've always had, the sublime gift of music with which He has blessed my entire life. As a musician and performer, I've always understood the ability of music to move us to emotional highs and lows, the power of its divine force to shape our thoughts. I totally understood music's importance in our lives and why the Bible tells us we should sing songs of praise and worship and honor to our Creator and Savior. But I suppose in my hurry, my need to achieve, my wanting to do everything I can for the Lord to serve Him every day, I'd forgotten one very important thing: to stop and listen to His voice, expressed in melody and harmony. I had forgotten how often in my life He had spoken to me through the piano or the saxophone, the band, the orchestra, the chorus. I'd almost forgotten how much of my first memories are tied into the worship of Him and His name and His glory and His wonderful works. What a blessing I received that morning when I stopped and listened in an old but new way, as I set aside the worries of the world for just a few moments and just listened as George Frederick Handel and the prophet Isaiah reminded me of the coming of the Messiah, the Christ child, the sacrificial lamb come to die for the sins of the world, the risen Christ, and our coming King. I was blessed once again to rediscover an old friend and realize that my love of music is very much an expression of my love for Him. And that music, like all good and perfect things, comes from the Father, something I already knew, but I'd almost forgotten. I hope that today you will find that music in your life, that perfect gift that will inspire you to a closer walk with the Lord. I hope you'll take a moment to set aside the worry and the doubt and the fear for just a little listen to the heavenly melodies He provides us every day. I hope today you stop and listen for the music of the coming King. I hope you make today a terrific day. I want you to know that I'm here should you need me. And I love you all.